What's up, everyone? I'm Aaron the Toy Enhancer, and welcome to the channel. Well, this is basically where we left off. We did all the computer work and the wiring. You can see I did a little bit of the siding on the front of the cabin. And what I'm working on now is I'm just doing the trim around the doors and windows. And I've basically built this whole project on wood glue. Anything that was wood, I just get a really good super tight bond with it. And you'll see here I'm cutting it with my quarter round cutters, which is a handheld cutting device, and it helps you get your angles. It has 45 degree and so on. 22, you can measure any angle on that tool that I'm using and just work by hand, so you don't have to go back and forth to any type of saw or whatnot. And it's just your normal tight bond wood glue that I'm using. It holds really well. If you ever get a piece that is being stubborn, you'll see me, I'm applying some clamps on that elongated 9-inch piece, just because I wanted it to settle down a little bit more on the one end. And those are just little tricks. I cut my 45s, and then I'll hold it up to the window and I'll make my mark, and that way I know I'm getting my exact measurement, and I'll just glue it in place. Now, I did use shims on the siding, and everyone knows that the shim has a thin side and then a thicker side. So what I do is I stagger them as I go, because they are overlapping each other. And if your ends tend to stick out a little bit, you can just file them down with a sander. Take your ends down so your trim pieces will fit around the windows a little better. So nice little tricks here that I'm using, and you can see I'm just cruising along. You know, don't be overwhelmed with, oh my goodness, there's so many pieces on this house, and you know, whatever project you're doing, just keep on trucking, keep on cruising through it. It eventually will all come together. On this next scene here, what I'm doing is I'm getting ready to do a resin pour, but it's just going to be a sample run here, because in all my videos and all the research that I did, I could not find anyone to give me an answer as to if it would melt foam board. Again, I've never done resin pours. This is the no odor. You know, it's not a pungent epoxy that I'm mixing like I thought it would be. It's very friendly, actually. You see it just comes out clear, and you have two components that you mix 50-50. And you see, I'm just trying to mix a little, because I'm just trying to do a test run. Again, I did not want it to like dissolve the foam board or anything like that. I'm gonna put in a little bit of dye, because you know, this is the first time I've ever used this stuff, so I'm kind of experimenting right here. And I just put some tape around that piece of foam, and you'll see here in a minute. We're just gonna mix it up. I do like the colors that I can get with it. I bought a coloring kit, so I can do more resin pours in the future. But again, this is my first run at it, so I've never messed with the stuff. I've seen it done many times, just never tried it myself. And as I'm pouring it on there, I'm noticing that it is not melting it. You would see a bubble effect. And here's the dried sample. I peeled it off already, so it will bond to the foam, but you can see it does not melt it. So it did make a bond, but it did not melt it, which is exactly what I was hoping before, because I am pouring it on foam, but the foam is already painted also, so that gives it another barrier protection. You can see it's almost like flexible plastic. So I like that. I was thinking, oh my goodness, I could make my own windshield for something possibly out of this stuff in the future if I would just make a mold, like a silicone based mold. But I thought it was neat stuff. It's very flexible, and it's right up the alley of what I was looking for. It's not pungent. I can use it in the house and it's not going to stink up everything. Now, this foam board did bond to this piece of wood, and you'll see here, I'm going to hit it with I was not able to break that free. So keep that in mind, that this will bond to porous materials such as wood, foam, and so on. If it can get into the pores of the substance, you're going to make a wonderful bond with it, which I don't mind. All the better to lock things in. But yeah, I was real happy with the resin pour. Alright, so we're back on the house. The cabin, I'm sorry. And now I'm just I'm trying to figure out my false walls here that are going to cover up all my computer stuff. I pre-made these and glued them together in the last video. And now I'm just getting a feel for, sizing things up. There's my dog Biscuit, Missy's dog, and that's my dog, Nanook. And they basically just sniff each other's butts and run around the house. But yeah, we love our dogs. They are spoiled. It's an easy thing to do. So here we are. I'm just making some final adjustments. I'm going back and forth because I'm buzzing this stuff out on a chop saw. So you see I got one flush end. I'm just sizing it up, going outside, I'm cutting it with the Sawzall. It's still a little snug. So I'm going to remark it. Bam, fits in perfect now. Now we have some false walls to work with. Alright, on one of these walls there is a fireplace. So I decided to make it out of just the foam board. And I'm just strategically cutting the block because it's a fireplace that has stone around the main insert, and then it has like a flagstone effect in a circular motion around the fireplace. So this is just going off the way that the fireplace was designed in the cartoon. Could I have made a better looking fireplace? Absolutely. Will I? Absolutely not, because I want it cartoon accurate. So you'll see the placement of things and why they look certain ways is to emulate the cartoon. But yeah, I think it came out decent in the long run here, and you can see it's just piece by piece, trimming and shaving, trimming and shaving. And then we're gonna apply some paint. You see I put black in the back and in all the gaps to give me a little bit more depth when we go ahead and do the final wash coat on it and whatnot. This is just the main coat. And let's move on to the next process. Here I am gluing the shims together for exterior siding. Now, on the front of the cabin, I glued them in place as I went. On the side wall, I want the side walls and the back wall to be accessible in case one of the LED lights burns out. I want Bobby to be able to unscrew the wall and possibly replace the lights if they ever give him any problem. Not that that will, but I still want it accessible for the future, wherever this diorama ends up. But you have to be able to work on these things at times. So I want the panel to be accessible. That's why I'm building it separate. See, it's just a matter of lining things up, putting a little weight on there. I use some paint cans, and then after the wall dries, I can come in here and fine tune it. I'll just cut it on the chop saw so I can get a nice straight cut. Be real careful with your chop saw. You know, you see me do some tricky stuff right here. I'm actually going to lift my guard and lift the wood up into the blade. Just be careful. I've been cutting with chop saws all my life, so I'm a little comfortable with them, almost too comfortable. You got to remind yourself your fingers can go missing within seconds. And here I am just getting ready to cut the other side. I got a nice mark on there. I took it out to the cabin. I lined everything up so I know it would be exactly right. And I'm going to get the blade fully going to full RPM before you dip into the wood, especially on thin wood like this. And then go ahead and make your cut. And you want a fine tooth blade. If you have a rough cut blade, it'll just shred this stuff and send it flying. So make sure you got a nice fine tooth finished blade on your saw. Onto the cypress trees. So yeah, I'm just making these out of the 2-inch foam, and I'm cutting them out in an elongated shape like that, and just filing down the edges, filing down. You'll see right here in every piece of foam board, every so many feet, it has a natural seam in it, like a natural splice, and that's a weak spot in the foam board. So you want to put that super glue in there, let it dissolve, and what it does is it makes it rock hard. It puts a good gap in there, but it makes the two sides rock hard. So when I put that painter's caulk in there and smooth it out, it'll have a good bond and won't potentially snap in the future. That's the only bad part about working with foam board, is the natural seams. You have to be careful with those because they are weak points in the foam board. And you see here I got the painter's caulk. I'll just shoot it in there and smooth it out. And if you don't get it nice and flush the first time, don't worry, you can always come back with a second run after it dries. And I like putting painter's caulk on most of my foam board. I'll hide gaps and seams. You can build up with it. You can add weight to the bottom of things by shooting caulk into the bottom of foam board. Just real versatile stuff. I'll just buy it by the case because I use it so much. You see here I'm just shaping and filing and sanding, trying to get the legs looking right for the bottom of the tree. And we all know the cypress trees, you know, they have like a root system that goes into the water because of the levels of water that are changing constantly from high to low. So I really like the way these trees look. They should come out great after they're all painted. I actually made a couple sets of these before I even took on this project to see if I was able to achieve the cypress tree effect. And you'll see here in a minute, I'm going to pull a couple into the camera frame and we will take a peek. You see how the legs look, and you can make them just any weird way that you want. And after that, I'll just round out the bottom and kind of glue the legs on there, and then we'll add caulk and whatever we need to shape everything out and get it more tree looking. So these should look pretty cool after they're all painted. And now we are finally getting down to the fun stuff. This is the resin pour that I've been dying to do. I've never done one before, and I almost forget to add this last element, which is LED lighting. I have a border, a perimeter, you'd say, wrapped around the front. This is where the dial will sit. The cabin will sit in that box up in the corner. And this is going to be the swamp area, but I want to illuminate it. And I thought this was a good way to try to achieve that. And just to make things look more like the cartoon a little bit. Yes, I do have the Crocmaster baby crocodiles in there. They are about to be poured in there. You can see I have some river stone set in there, and here in a minute I'm just getting my cups filled up for the resin pour. Again, it's a 50-50 part, and I'm doing 2 batches of blue, and then we're gonna do 1 little batch of green. and that should pretty much fill it up as high as I need it to lock everything into place. You'll see here in a minute. When I reach behind, I'm going to add some moss to the rocks, and this is the blue dye that we're mixing up. And again, with that, you just drop it in there, you know. Here's me making some adjustments to the rock. I just decided to put a little bit of moss here and there. I had it sitting right behind me. I've been putting it into the castle diorama, so I figured I'd utilize it. And it's a swamp, so I mean, what would it hurt? Just put a little bit of moss here and there. I didn't really want to put too much of anything in front of the lighting because I want the light to beam across this resin pour. But then we just start pouring it in there. Just being real careful that stuff doesn't go rolling or topple over. Making sure everything stays in place. And I hope you enjoyed these videos, guys. The next video will be the final video. You will see the ultimate result. I do have a few surprises in store for you guys since you've been tagging along. This is the third video now that you guys have been watching. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it and learning the process. And you see, as for instance, what we're doing now is something that I've never done before. So, you know, don't be scared to try new techniques, and you can always, you know, if you mess up, you can always start over. You can always get another piece of foam board, you know, and don't be afraid to dip into new techniques, because you never know, it may be the best thing that you've done. So if you haven't given a like or subscribe, please do so. And I look forward to seeing you on the next time. And we'll find the final result on this Zartan's lair and see what surprises I have in store for you guys. I made a few purchases along the way, and we're going to put a few more little surprise elements, get it all painted up, and we'll be ready to ship it off to Bobby. Because I know he's been extra super patient. And I can't wait to get it to him, honestly. We might do a quick review on it, and I'll get it shipped out. Again, make sure you guys ring that bell for notifications so you can find the next and final Zartan Swamp Lair video. Thanks, guys, and I'll catch you on the next time.